Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, I am going to be doing a reading and energy update for our beautiful collective here on YouTube. So, if you'd like to contribute your energy to the reading in a stronger way, I do recommend liking the video and subscribing to the channel, as these are forms of energetic transference that tend to allow me to pick up more easily on your energy and channel more specifically for you and your situation. Not just here in this video, but in future reading videos as well. I will sometimes receive downloads between readings, and very often, these energetic downloads come from people who are energetically tied into our more close collective. This is part of why subscribing and participating in that energy exchange helps you stay more tied into the messages and allows you to typically channel more specific messages more frequently throughout the videos. I'm going to start by shuffling the energy oracle cards, and I just want to know what those listening to this reading need to know most at this time. Okay, so the first card I have here is Door to Personal Healing and Happiness in the reverse position. It's been a while since I've read from this specific guidebook, but for some reason, I'm really feeling like there's a guidebook message here. The guidebook says, you may be feeling stuck where your personal intentions are concerned. Remember that your intentions need to be clear and unconflicted. Whatever you're working on, you need to know that you are capable of achieving it and that you deserve it. Put your heart into the plans and changes you desire and realize that you are worth your own time and effort. So that already may have contained some kind of message for someone listening, but I want to go ahead and clarify with a Rose Oracle card. So, how can I clarify? That's so funny, I'm always mixing up these two decks. This is actually not the Rose Oracle. This is a very similar looking and equally beautiful deck, the Work Your Light Oracle. Both of these decks are by Rebecca Campbell, by the way. I first got her Starseed Oracle deck several years ago, and since then, I've added to our collection the Work Your Light Oracle and the Rose Oracle. I definitely really recommend her decks if you feel any sense of being guided to them. Okay, so what message from the Work Your Light Oracle do we have here? Priestess, how are you being called to step up and lead? A major, general kind of message coming through right away, connecting these two cards together, is that someone is really being called to pour back into themselves, to recognize that they are worth their own time, energy, and effort. I'm really strongly picking up on a divine feminine here. So although of course these are just labels, divine feminine and divine masculine, do keep in mind, we all have a balance of both energies. What this means is that when I channel for the divine feminine or the divine masculine, these messages could apply to your internal divine masculine or divine feminine, or to some external person or situation. I am going to put the label divine feminine somewhere in the title of this video because I want to make it more findable specifically to the divine feminine collective, since that energy is coming through very strongly. But as I always say throughout these readings, it's really your intuition that holds the key to unlocking that door to your own unique pathway of success and fulfillment, all of those things that come along with following your soul's true, authentic path. No one can tell you for you what that path is, what it's supposed to look like, who you're supposed to be connecting with. Only you know that for you. And I'm not sure why this is coming through, but I actually completely forgot about this mini download I received earlier today. I'm calling it a mini download here about soul contracts, and I feel that someone had a question about soul contracts. Maybe you asked this to the universe, or maybe just subconsciously you kind of wondered, This might be some sign of confirmation for you and your own intuition. So, for whoever has been dealing with multiple soul contracts, or maybe it's just one very dominant soul contract in your life, and you are feeling a bit frustrated at yourself or the situation at times from a human perspective because you are saying to yourself, why can't I let this person go? Or why does this situation just keep coming back around again like a revolving door? Or why do I always find myself pulled back here? Or why is this person still in my life? Specifically, in situations where your conscious mind may have told you to cut this person out, or maybe you did separate and then you just keep coming back together again. Very often, when this occurs, it's a sign that we have an unfulfilled soul contract with that specific person. And we are meant to be surrendering to that process, focusing on our own self-growth and self-healing. Know that when it's time for a soul contract to dissolve, meaning it's time for you and another person to part ways, sometimes temporarily, sometimes for longer periods of time, in the physical, nothing's ever really permanent as far as these separations go. Every soul bond is eternal in a sense. It's a piece of us internally. It's something that we carry with us through lifetimes, in those times and spaces between lives as well. But know that if there's someone in your life, and the connection might be strange, it might not make sense. This could be a friend, a family member, a coworker. Logically, you can't figure it out. You can't seem to separate or disconnect because your heart is just pulling you back. Know that there is still a reason that person is in your life. Everything and everyone in your life at this moment is structured divinely to optimize your soul's growth and expansion at this moment in time. What that also means is that rather than fixating on the external person, should I keep them in my life? Should I cut them out? Should I disconnect? How much should I communicate? Our mind loves to fixate on these external trappings of relationship and connection. It just gives us something to constantly chew on and circle around, and it keeps us in this state of stress as well. But rather than fixating on the external, focus on your internal growth, your expansion, your progress towards your personal goals and dreams, your connection to your own internal sense of unconditional self-love. Because when you expand, those connections will either expand and evolve with you if those soul contracts are meant to be carried with you into that next phase of your journey, or they will dissolve out of your life naturally, automatically, and effortlessly. You won't have to do anything necessarily from a physical 3D standpoint. Now, of course, what I will say is if your intuition is pulling you in a direction, honor that intuitive voice within yourself if you do feel guided to set a boundary or disconnect, etc. But I'm speaking to a specific group of divine feminines listening who have found themselves in maybe one connection, maybe multiple connections, and these don't have to be romantic. This could be, again, family members, coworkers, friends. You just feel like you are meant to have these individuals in your life at this moment. You logically might not understand it. You might not be able to say why, but something in your soul is just pulling you back to those people or connections. Know that that is for a higher reason. It's because they are serving some kind of divine purpose at this point in your soul's growth or evolution. So, focus on the internal growth, that internal evolutionary process, that internal expansion, and everything else will fall into place, meaning, as you grow and expand, those who are aligned with your next level of expansion, with your expanded self, will harmoniously expand and grow with you. Those who are not aligned with that expanded version of you will naturally fall out of your life. In fact, typically what happens is the communication just starts to feel out of whack. The two of you just aren't lining up in the physical, because your vibrations are too different. So, our only job here, and it's so difficult at times because of that human egoic aspect of ourselves that likes to control, that likes to have that sense of certainty, is simply to focus on our internal expansion, our internal connection with unconditional love, and to keep growing and evolving. We need to allow the connections that are aligned with all of that to remain in our lives, to support us and nourish us moving forward. Meanwhile, the connections that are not aligned with that energy will naturally either dissolve or be disconnected, at least temporarily, from our lives. That can be a difficult thing to surrender as well, to allow ourselves to say, if you are not aligned with my frequency, you are going to find it very difficult to connect with me, and I am going to surrender to that. I am not going to lower myself for you. I'm not going to dilute myself for you. I'm not going to try to artificially push a connection into place when the frequencies are out of alignment. I'm going to allow that process to unfold. Another major phrase that has been coming up, and I might do an Instagram post on this as well, because it has been so recurring, is the concept of having a light touch. The power of having a light touch means to kind of float in that attitude of surrender, to not need to push or force externally, but to allow things to lock into place or dissolve or disconnect, whatever they're going to do. As you stay focused on staying connected with the frequency of unconditional love, which is really self-love. Because of course, when we connect with unconditional self-love, that is equivalent to what we think of as unconditional love radiated outward. In unconditional self-love, we are breaking down those internalized barriers that keep us from radiating that pure frequency of unconditional love. Okay, so that was really a bit of a roundabout kind of download there, I guess for lack of a better word, but I really hope that reached whoever needed to hear it at this time. I hope that provided you with some sense of clarity. I also find it really interesting with the priestess card how this priestess imagery has been coming up so frequently recently. We do keep pulling the literal high priestess card from the traditional tarot deck. So, I want to know, let me get my decks a little bit organized here. I want to know how you are being called to step up and lead at this time. Because this concept of being a leader has also been really prominent in recent reading videos. How you are really leading the collective into higher levels of consciousness, into what we might consider to be the fifth dimension. Here we have the Six of Cups. You might be the first in a generation or the first in your family to do something, because there's a very strong energy coming through here of healing your generation's line. So you might be the first in your family to, for example, achieve some kind of specific thing in this lifetime. To come into a certain level of whatever you define to be success, freedom, or abundance. To embody a certain kind of spiritual energy or frequency of love that your ancestors may not have been capable of physically embodying in their human form. With the King of Pentacles reversed, I'm hearing that this is connecting with an imbalanced masculine energy. So specifically, you might be a feminine energy who has been very independent. And for some feminines I'm speaking to here, you may have even spent a lot of your lifetime single or outside of a stable, long-term, traditional-looking romantic relationship. That won't be the case for everyone. But regardless, there is that level of independence, that determination to walk a unique path, to also be able to support yourself, and to not necessarily need to rely upon someone externally. If you have that kind of spirit within you, this may be because you are restoring balance to the feminine and masculine energies collectively, and in your family's line more specifically. Because it seems that there may have been feminine ancestors who came before you who were very dependent on an imbalanced masculine energy in their life, specifically when it came to finances. They may have had a knowingness that they wouldn't be able to support themselves on their own and were completely dependent on this other person. I'm hearing this may have left them feeling helpless. There may have been a little bit of a victim mentality there as well. So, part of your incarnation for the group of feminines I'm speaking to here, which might be a very small group, this may not resonate with many people, but if this is you, the reason you felt so independent in your life, and possibly even from a very young age, you've had this strong desire to support yourself, to not need to be dependent on another person, to develop a sense of confidence in yourself, a sense of autonomy, is directly related to this generational imbalance that you incarnated to heal. Again, specifically, that imbalance between the masculine and feminine in your ancestral line, where the feminine would be overly dependent or reliant upon the masculine energy, who may have themselves behaved in a controlling or imbalanced manner. So, you've come here to break those chains, so to speak, to restore balance. But what that means is your path might look very different from your ancestors who came before you. And you might be the source of, yes, a lot of healing, a lot of inspiration, but also the target for a lot of judgment. Here we have the Six of Wands. So know that, if I've been speaking to you here, you are going to be successful at whatever path you are walking, whatever you are doing. This might be your sign of confirmation. Maybe you've simply been wondering, am I on the right track with all of this, especially because your path looks so different from the people who came before you, from the people around you? Know that you're onto something here. Your intuition is onto something powerful. You know something, and you're very correct about something at this moment in time that no one else around you is really understanding. But that doesn't make you inaccurate. That means this knowing, this vision, wasn't given to them, it was given to you. Trust that knowing. And again, if you aren't already seeing it, because some of you may already be in that Six of Wands energy where you are beginning to, or have been, receiving recognition, support from maybe unexpected places as you are walking this unique path for others of you. This might be predictive, letting you know that recognition, that sense of success, achievement, and support is coming. But what I am hearing with the support is that support for you on this unique path is often going to come from unexpected places. So very often, you might actually feel the least seen and the least supported by some of the people who have been the closest to you in the physical 3D world. In fact, you may have certain people around you, whether it was family members growing up, friends, childhood influences, people in your life that, yes, you might have beautiful connections with in some cases, but for whatever reason, many of these individuals actually are coming up as being blind to your true power and potential. So, whereas they might have some kind of positive connection with you, you might feel as though you have these ideas, dreams, or visions that many of these people close to you simply have not been able to see or understand. I almost feel that in itself has been this kind of training exercise to teach you how to move into levels of deeper self-trust, how to really establish a concrete internal connection to that knowing within you, even if you're feeling unsupported in the physical 3D world. Even if the people around you don't see your vision. And ultimately, the reward here, or one of the rewards, because there do seem to be many, is that you're going to attract very high levels of support externally. Yes, from physical people, but sometimes in unexpected places. So I'm hearing there are actually many people who are going to resonate with your vision, who are going to see the potential of whatever path you are on. It's just that oftentimes, this support isn't necessarily going to come from the people who have been closest to you in the past, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to be reshuffling the cards here. We've definitely been channeling some very interesting personal messages. Do let me know in the comments if anything here has been connecting for you in some type of personal way. But I do want to look into any external connections that might be sending you energy at this time. So, this could be romantic individuals from your past, present, or even people you're going to be meeting futuristically. This could also be friends, family members, acquaintances, or coworkers. Here we have the card I want to apologize, I need your forgiveness. So, someone's had it heavily on their mind that they want to come in with an apology. This person says, "You're worth more to me than I let on." Wow, okay. I don't know who I'm picking up on here, but wow. I'm getting a wave of goosebumps, and I'm starting to feel tears well up in my eyes for some reason. I'm picking up very strong father or grandfather energy for someone. There's a very strong caretaker masculine energy, someone who is older than you in terms of earth years, or may have even passed on, but was older than you in their incarnation. This will not be for everyone, for sure. This might only be speaking to one or two people, but someone's father was coming through, or, again, it could be a grandfather or just some kind of caretaker masculine, a kind of fatherly masculine energy. But they were coming through because this is someone who, whether they are currently physically incarnated with you or whether they've passed on, really struggles to communicate their feelings. Their heart has been really closed off. They may have not been the best at showing or expressing their love and affection, but I just feel this person wanting to say at this spirit level, at this soul level, that you are their world, that you mean so much to them, that they are cheering for you either in spirit or internally. Maybe the two of you are out of contact in the physical world, and this is someone who has struggled to really express their pride and admiration for you. This is someone who wants to say that if there is a distance, if you put distance between yourself and this person, it's almost like they're saying they understand why you needed to do that. And they're not necessarily asking you to close that distance if that's something you're not willing or ready to do. They're just letting you know in spirit that they are cheering you on your own spiritual path, that they're supporting you in spirit, and that they are apologizing for not, in their words, being better at saying how they feel or expressing how they feel. This might be a person of few words like, I don't want to say a simple person, but it's like someone who doesn't necessarily communicate with fancy language or anything like that. They're very straightforward, and a masculine energy of few words is what I'm getting from this specific person. Now, again, this could be from the spirit realm, this could be someone who's passed on. But whoever this is for, I really hope this message reaches you. It felt really strong and really heavy for someone. Again, this will not resonate with most. But let's see who or what else is connected to your energy. I'm in love with you, more heart chakra energy, but this time it's romantic. Someone is feeling deeply in love with you. For some reason, I heard the word obsessed. They might even be obsessively thinking about you. Now, let's get some specifics on who this person is, because you guys know I'm really curious who we're connecting with here. I like to get as many specific details as possible. This might be someone who is either in communication with you over the phone, text, calling, or who wants to get in touch with you that way or wants to be more consistent. They want more consistent communication between the two of you, regardless of whether there is any at the moment or not. And I'm saying that because my phone lit up with a text message right as I was channeling all of this, so I'm taking that as a sign of confirmation here. This is someone, though, who's also a bit tongue-tied because they're dealing with a lot of fears. These fears seem to be creating some kind of throat chakra blockage here. I'm hearing you see glimmers, or In the past, you've seen glimmers of how this person truly feels on their heart chakra, beneath these fears, but it's usually in these almost like accidental, vulnerable moments. For some reason, I'm hearing I almost held your hand. Don't know why that's so specific, but this person may have like almost grabbed your hand or held your hand, or just wanted to kiss you in a moment so impulsively, even though that may have not been the nature of your connection at all. In fact, I'm picking up there may have been some kind of blockage or barrier professionally or relationship-wise that would have made that a huge issue in the physical world. Like it would have been inappropriate in some way. Maybe one of you is already in a romantic relationship or is in a romantic relationship. Maybe there were professional or cultural boundaries or something of that nature. It's almost like this person is afraid of how easily you bring out their vulnerable and emotional side. They are really afraid of doing or saying something impulsive, just like in a moment of not even thinking, because of how in love with you they're feeling. I feel their soul almost like calling out to you because they're feeling at some kind of crossroads. They're not sure what to do. I feel like the two of you may not really be in touch right now, but this person is at some kind of a life decision point. For those of you who are in contact with this person, this just means that they're not communicating to you about what this crossroads is. Like you guys don't talk about this life decision necessarily in the physical, but it's like their soul is reaching out, saying, I really need some help deciding how to move forward with my life here. Yeah, with karmic partner reversed and romance reversed. Okay, so for many of these, I'm going to say masculines, because for most of you, you're coming up as the divine feminine, which would mean in most cases this would be more of a masculine energy, but this is someone who is in some type of karmic situation. Now, this could be a job, a life circumstance, an addiction, or a behavior pattern, or something like that. It doesn't have to be a relationship or a person. But for many of them, I'm getting it is a relationship. They feel like they are choosing what to do with a karmic connection where there is no passion. If this is a person or relationship, the romance has completely gone out of this connection or relationship. They don't feel any sense of passion or romance here whatsoever. They feel very alone, even while they're with this person, or maybe especially when they're with this person. And this is why they're thinking of you so obsessively, because you made them feel so seen. And regardless of how long it's been in the physical since the two of you have communicated, what this person can't get off their mind is how completely and utterly seen they felt in your presence. And just the memory of that, the thought of that is putting something into perspective for them here. With the card perceptions, it's making them feel like they've just been delusional to be staying with this person or in this situation that is lacking passion or romance. But ironically, they're feeling equally, if not more so, delusional for feeling this connection to you, especially if there's been some kind of disconnect, especially if the two of you haven't necessarily communicated that much in the physical. For some of you, I'm picking up specifically you may not have spent much time alone at all with this person in the physical world, which is making this all the more confusing. Because again, they felt so seen by you that it's left this impression on them that they are still remembering and, in fact, especially recalling when they're with this karmic person. If there is that karmic situation involved here with the mirroring card, this may be a twin flame connection because I am seeing this mirroring of energy here. We also have marriage, partnership, and commitment. This is interesting. So I'm getting that if they're with a karmic person, this karmic person, even though there seems to be no romance in the connection, they want a higher level of commitment out of this masculine. So if it's a marriage, they want the marriage to be more solid and stable. If this is a relationship, then they want the person to propose, they want it to be a marriage. So it's like they want more commitment or stability out of this person. But the thing is, the romance isn't there. They're feeling alone and unseen in this connection, and I feel like they're telling this person that they're just not again. Like if they're dating, they're telling them they're not the marriage type, or if they're married. It's like they're making up excuses for why they can't offer this karmic person more stability or more commitment. But the truth is, and what they're finally beginning to realize, is the real reason they're not offering this person more commitment is because they're in love with you, or because this comparison of how you made them feel so seen is just really throwing it in their face that this is not going to be a connection that they can be happy and fulfilled in for the long term. It's like they can't help but draw those mental comparisons here. So I know that some of these messages have picked up a really specific thread of energy, and this might not relate to everyone, so only take from the reading what does connect for you. For some of you, some of these specific messages might not connect in this specific context. It might be more of like a general theme that connects to some area of your relationships or your life. For others of you, it might not resonate at all. And of course, always use your own intuition as your highest guide in navigating all of these readings, and really, of course, everything in your life and every piece of information you come across. But I am going to close this first reading here today with a Rumi Oracle card. I do want to let you know as well that I will be continuing these channeled messages in our soul tribe today. So if you are interested in getting more details and pieces of information about this trail of energy specifically, we're going to be looking into how this masculine might be thinking and feeling towards you at this time, how this situation could potentially be moving forward, what they might be communicating with you in the physical world or doing in the physical world related to this connection. I'll also be looking into anyone else that might be connecting with your energy at this time, because I am getting that your aura is pretty active, meaning there seem to be a lot of external people and energy trying to latch onto you or trying to connect with you in some way. So we will be looking more at that as well today. The final card I've pulled here from the Rumi Oracle is Sacred Phoenix Heart, and I'm going to read a message from the guidebook here. Under the cover of blood, love veils many rose gardens. In total faith, love tenderly guides every lover to the garden of the heart. Reason says the world is limited in 6 directions, there is no way out. Love says there is a way, and I have traveled it many times. Rumi. The guidebook also says love guides us through travails that seem improbable, if not impossible. It does not shy away from any challenge, from any cause. It cannot. It is just love's way. Love says to us there is always another way. You are receiving this guidance now. So I'm going to go ahead and close the reading here. Again, if you would like to continue on with me today in our soul tribe, the link to do so is under the video. Otherwise, I am wishing you all a beautiful, magical remainder of your day. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will connect with you here again in today's reading.